Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Yontaf Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuptam Sanjeevayatyakhilashakti-dharaswadhamna Anyashahasta-charanashravanatvagadin Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Pranam Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Samacharana Sarojam Sandranilambudhabham Jagananihita Panim Mandanam Mandananam Tarunatulasimala Kandharam Kanjanetram Sadayadhavalahasam Vitthalam Chintayami Vitthalam Chintayami. OV 474. Now the Lord is
Volume
going to...
be higher on your side. I'm sorry to interrupt, Sachinji.
Yeah.
The volume is very low.
Is it? Oh, I have tried this thing today because
So when you look down now, that was a good volume.
when I'll put it maximum. Okay. Now?
Sorry? No,
No. Okay. Now? Hello?
no.
Yeah, no, no. Oh, still.
Does everybody feel the same thing that his volume is low? Only for me it is.
The volume is low, Varshaji.
It's
Uh,
low, is it?
Yeah, it is
yeah.
low.
Oh, okay, okay. Then I'll
Uh,
try Can I try removing the audio mic? How about now?
Say something
Now
more?
better. Yeah.
Now better, is it?
No.
This is not working. That means. Oh, I was trying this. Now? Now, yeah, now.
Zero.
Still very low, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Then all of us adjust to
Hello,
this volume? Or is it still okay for Sri Hari ji and Venkatesh ji? If he continues like that, would it be okay? Is it audible for you all?
Varshaji, it is very, very low.
Very low, is it? Oh, then even now, even if I remove it, is it?
I think when you're
I
coming
think when you
closer,
remove
it's
is
better.
better. Yeah, when you lean
Maybe come
towards.
close to the mic, maybe lean towards the mic.
Yeah, correct,
Yes,
correct.
correct. Yes,
Now it's
correct.
better. Okay, okay.
Yes, now
Yes,
it's better. Yes.
better
I'll
than
try
what it
like that.
was. Yes. But would you be able to read? Because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
screen will
yeah.
come closer to your eyesight there.
Should be okay, I think. I'll
Should be
try
okay.
like that. OV 474. Now the Lord is going to tell the obligatory duties of a householder and the part of surrendering the actions to God. Vedadhyaya swadha swaha balyannadyairyathodayam devarshi pitrabhutani madhupanyan vahanyajet. Meaning of the verse. What is swadhyaya? One meaning of this word is to study Vedas and to perform sacrifice according to the procedure laid down in Vedas. Swadha is the word denoting rituals which are done to appease the dead ancestors on some particular days. Swaha is the word used while offering oblations in the sacrificial pit for appeasing gods. Balidana is offering food, etc., to beings, animals, etc. It also includes giving money. Through these rituals, etc., I, the Lord, should be worshipped. 475. There are 5 kinds of yajnas or sacrifices. One is Brahma Yajna, which is sacrifice performed according to the procedure laid down in the Vedas for propitiating gods. The second is to offer food, etc., through a ritual which is denoted by the word Swadha, while sacrifice for gods, as mentioned, is denoted by the word Swaha. 476. There is third yajna in which things are offered to animals, ghosts, nature, spirit, etc. For giving satisfaction to human beings, food and money and other things are offered to deserving persons like Brahmins, poor people, guests, etc. There is offering to a sage which is called Rishi Yajna. This all is a regular part of duties. 477. This is the way of connecting ourselves to absolute Brahman, and I am going to tell you the essence of it. 478. First, while performing any action, one should both have the concept that he is the doer of whatever he is doing, and one must understand that only God is the doer. Further, those for whom offering is meant should also be identified as God. If sacrifices are done with this basic understanding, the action becomes a true offering. 479. So when there is no intention of the doer, the karma or the performance becomes a true offering to Brahman. O Uddhava, this is the key. 480. When the person thinks, I have done this work, I have offered it to Lord Sri Krishna, then he becomes the doer, and automatically that action becomes binding to the jiva. 481. O Uddhava, pride is the main binding factor when the doer thinks that he is the actor, which involves bondage to receive the good or bad results himself. 482. The man who has the sense of I and mine is always bound, and if the man has no such sense, he becomes free. 483. I therefore say that when the householder every day performs all these 5 sacrifices without sense of pride, this whole action automatically becomes offering to Brahman. 484. Now I have told you the regular routine sacrifices to be performed by the householders. I shall tell you further the things required to be done by the performer. 485. To undertake any yajna, sacrificial ritual, a particular qualification or authority is necessary. At least 12,000 rupees are required as monetary provision. Further, the man must be having knowledge about the whole ceremony, its procedure, and the details given in the Vedas in that respect. This is the eligibility factor. Yadrichayopapannena shuklenoparjitena va dhanena pidayan bhrityan nyayena haret kratun. Meaning of the verse: the money required for yajna should be readily available and earned by good means, without harassing servants or any other persons, and yajna should be performed with justice to all. 486. Money is earned through business and trade and by wrongful actions, or wrung out by cruelty, or got by harassing others. 487. People complain while giving such money, or Guru compels the disciple to give contribution by pressure on him. The sum of money collected through such wrong means is not fit to be used for yajnas. 488. But money should be earned easily by legitimate work or by performing right actions without trouble to anybody, and this is proper to be used for yajna. 489. Yajna should not be performed by keeping family members hungry and starving and using every farthing in the house. That will also be wrong. 490. One should not sell any regular means or sources of livelihood like a rice field, etc., to raise funds for yajna, and there should not be intention to earn fame in the society. That is often the case with dull-witted, ignorant people. 491. The householder should perform yajna only by using righteously earned money and having no pride of doing it. 492. The householder should leave his attachment to the objects of pleasure, attachment to his house and other possessions, and should have a disinterested attitude about which quality the Lord Sri Krishna is telling to Uddhava further. Kutumbeshu na sajjeta na pramadyet kutumbyapi vipaschinnashwaram pashyet adrishtamapi drishtavat. Meaning of the verse: a sane householder too should not get attached to the members of his family, nor should he be unmindful of his good. He should realize the invisible words, to be as perishable as the visible world. 493. Though the householder has a house, a wife and sons, he should not be attached to them, and by alert attention to his goal of spiritual path, he should be always aware of the bondage which they create. 494. He should not indulge in projection of ideas and imagination, be free from mistakes and attachments, should avoid contact with women, and have pious faith in God with concentration of attention. 495. O Uddhava, viewed from discretion and wisdom, the house, the family, and the interest in sensual pleasures are definitely perishable. 496. Just as the visible world is thus perishable, even the heaven world is equally perishable, both being unreal. 497. The wife, the sons, and the money are as perishable and unreal as a dream. The Lord Narayana further points out this to Uddhava in the next verse. Putradarapta bandhunam sangamah pantha sangamaha anuddeham viyantyete swapno nidranugo yatha. Meaning of the verse: the coming together of wife, sons, relatives and brothers in one's life is like chance meeting of co-travelers on a street. They do not happen again in the next birth, as things seen in one dream do not seem to happen in another dream. 498. Just as some travelers come together in the shade of a tree for a short time, the wife, sons and relatives come together by chance for a short time. 499. When two rivers meet, some wooden logs floating on their water come together at that place by chance. All relatives come together temporarily, and just as the wooden logs are flown away by force of water, these relatives are also taken away by events in human life. 500. When the jiva adopts a particular body by birth, in any particular category, he gathers relatives around him from the same species, and there are many births in the evolution, and innumerable are the relatives in all these births. 501. Just as things seen in one dream do not occur in another dream, the relatives of one birth do not come in contact with the jiva in the same manner in another birth, nor do they recognize each other. 502. Thus, wife, children, brothers and sisters and relatives are unreal and surely belonging to Maya. He who knows this fact properly is surely a wise and fortunate man. Itham parimrishan mukto griheshvatithivadvasan na grihairanubadhyeta na nirmamo nirahankritaha. Meaning of the verse: thinking like this, a man should not have the sense of pride or possession in his house, and live like a wanderer visiting the house as a guest, not bound to the inmates, etc. 503. When a man is discreet like this, he is not affected by attractions or sense of possessions. He lives in the house as aloof as a guest. 504. So one who has dropped his pride, sense of I and mine and attachment, remains aloof and unattached, though residing in the house, as he is having apathy, no desire and no enticement or pride. 505. To remain so aloof and without enticement, the devotion and worship of a guru is needed, which naturally creates these virtues in his character. 506. O Uddhava, such a man who is aloof, though living in a house, attains liberation where he is. 507. Now the Lord is telling the way of life in other ashramas, behaviors, devotion and desirelessness, etc. to Uddhava. Karmabhirgrihamedhiyairištva mameva bhaktiman tishtedvanam vopavishet prajavan va parivrajet. Meaning of the verse: worshipping me alone through his household duties, a devotee may stay in his house further, or retire into a forest, or renounce the world and go about as a mendicant if he has a male issue. 508. The householder who uses his time in my worship, though he is a family man, is not required to enter into next ashramas. 509. He never gives up his devotion at any time, consisting of sacrifice for gods or for ancestors, giving gifts, etc., and surrenders every action to me. 510. His mind does not waver from my worship, may it be the proper time or wrong time. If he is so devoted, he may continue his family life. 511. A man who is fond of action but not crazy about sensual pleasures, and whose mind has not become peaceful by wisdom, may enter the forest to become a vanaprasthi, that is a forest dweller. 512. Then a man who has developed desirelessness, who has knowledge, and whose mind is peaceful, is the only worthy person to renounce everything and become a sannyasi. 513. The Shruti also says that if a couple gets a male issue, the husband may ask permission of his wife, put the child in the trust and care of its mother, and leave his house to become a sannyasi. 514. The Lord is now going to tell the sorry plight of the man who leads a family life, has many children, has no discrimination, no desirelessness, and is not at all interested in the worship of God. 515. He whose illusion about sense objects is not yet cleared and whose sannyasa does not take place, does all bad deeds which are being told by Lord Purushottama. Yastva saktamatirgrehe putravittaishanaturah straina kripanadhir mudho mamahamiti badhyate. Meaning of the verse: the man who is attached to his house, sons, money, mad about his woman, and is miser and stupid, is bound by ego and share of his possessions. 516. One who is very much attached to his house and is having desires of three kinds, that is money, sons, and the wife, and who is crazy about many objects of this world with a craving for money. 517. One who is slave to his vices, who is given to pride and possessions, who is sold out to his woman, and who is stupid. 518. One who is crazy because of his hope for many things and becomes a slave to the demands of his senses definitely falls in the bondage. 519. Now the Lord is describing the nature of that bondage and the laments of that stupid person. Aho me pitarau vriddhau bharya balatmajatmajaha anatha mamrite dinaha kathan jivanti dukkhitaha. Meaning of the verse: he says, oh, my parents are very old, my wife is weak, my sons are young, and if I am not alive, how can these poor people live? They will really suffer. 520. He says, my parents are really very old, my wife is weak, my children are very young, and if they lose me, they will not survive long. 521. He worries in various ways about what will happen if he dies and imagines many ghastly situations. 522. What will my wife and children do if I suddenly die? He sobs at this thought. 523. Let me not worry much about my parents, but I am sure my wife will cry herself dry of tears, beat her chest, and lament miserably. Thus thinking, he beats his forehead due to imagined sorrow. 524. How would these survive the shock of my death? He suffers like this even while he is living, and they are also living. That is why he is called stupid. 525. Where such foolishness is very deep, the boat of discrimination is carried away in the wrong directions by winds of sorrow and becomes capsized. Evam grihashaya kshipta shridayo mudhadhirayam atriptastananudhyayan mrutondham vishate tamaha. Meaning of the verse: this man, caught by the attachment to his house and having become foolish due to it, becomes discontented, and worrying about his family members, goes to the darkest hell after his death. 526. Thus, the man who is attached to his house and family, always dissatisfied about sensual pleasures, and his mind affected by delusion. 527. Becomes foolish due to his attachments, and if he dies in such a condition, he falls into the darkest dungeon of hell. 528. His knowledge is blinded by the dark ignorance, and he suffers in the darkness of the soul, where even the sun may be blind. 529. It is pity that such stupidly attached persons should fall to the depths of hell called Andhatama, from where it is really difficult to escape. 530. Due to great delusion and attraction, such people miss the unlimited happiness of freedom by the unfortunate adherence to momentary pleasures. 531. It is therefore imperative for the human beings to worship God and escape from the death and rebirth, thus emancipating oneself by one's efforts. 532. In every birth, in every category of life, the jiva has this attachment to objects of enjoyment. If one continues this slavery to desires, even in the rare human life, then when is man going to turn towards the really wonderful spiritual life? 533. And if he is born as Brahman, in the duties of which caste it is easy to attain to absolute reality, the Brahman, what more does a man want? Sant Eknath here adds, 534. If a Brahman performs the Sandhya prayers daily 3 times, he is thrice free of all his sins every day. 535. He is authorized to recite the Gayatri mantra, which is the purest and the most powerful mantra. Even Vedas are eagerly waiting to be uttered through his mouth. See his greatness. 536. The great Lord Narayana is residing in the heart of Brahmins in the form of Vedas, and therefore Brahmins are the most spiritual human beings. 537. Great deities also bow down before the Brahmins, and the Lord Narayana totes with respect and love the impression of the foot of a Brahmin, the sage Bhrigu, on his chest. See the greatness of a Brahmin. 538. As the Brahmins do the daily Sandhya prayers, not an iota of sin remains in their consciousness. They are therefore merit personified, as declared by Lord Narayana. 539. In Gita, the Lord himself describes Brahmins as far higher than Shudras, Vaishyas, etc., which is supported by the above declaration in this Bhagavata Purana. 540. If the Brahmin is a devotee of the Lord Sri Krishna, then all the grace of the Lord is with him. There is nothing unattainable for him. The Lord is ever ready to do his bidding. 541. When the Brahmins recite mantras of consecration upon a wooden or metal image, God comes to stay actively in that image. Such is the willpower of Brahmins. 542. In such a situation, if a Brahmin neglects so great a chance and indulges in petty and deplorable actions, he should be considered to have lost the Supreme Person by his bad behavior. He definitely falls in the hell called Andhatama, where pithy darkness of the soul reigns. 543. Eknath, the disciple of Guru Janardhana, therefore requests all people that since they are born as human beings, they should surely attain the self-realization by worshipping the Lord Sri Krishna. Here ends the Marathi commentary by Sant Eknath on the 17th chapter of the 11th Skandha of Bhagavata Purana, dedicated to Lord Sri Krishna.
Beautiful, Sajidji. Such fantastic verses today. So nice.
Beautiful
And
verses.
you read the shlokas also so beautifully. Excellent. Well done. Okay, now please share your thoughts.
So I'll go to the beginning, but
474.
it was 470, right? Yeah. So So the Lord is telling the duties of a householder is starting with that, and surrendering all our actions to God. So the first thing the description is about swadhyaya, which is swadha means denote the word showing rituals how they are performed, and swaha is the word to offer oblations in the sacrificial fire to appease the gods. So some people do also balidan, which is actually offering some animals etc. for the sacrifice, and they also give money. So this is the description of the word swadhyaya. Then there are other 5 kinds of sacrifices described. One is called Brahma Yajna, which is sacrifice performed according to the Vedic procedures for propitiating gods. So one is Brahma Yajna, to propitiate gods. The second is to offer food through a ritual, which is denoted by the word swadha. So offering food into the fire, like we offer a ghee and other things, that so that is another type of this thing. And third yajna is in which animals, ghosts, nature, spirit, etc., and that is to satisfy human beings' need for wealth or money, and is offered to Brahmins and all. Then there is also this Rishi Yajna. So these are 5 types of yajna they described here. Then so one thing that what caught my attention was that this in the last few verses is that the attachment when you do these sacrifices, or when you are in bhakti, you should not have too much attachment to worldly objects, the family and all these things, and you should do it with full consciousness in what you are doing. Like, there should not be any binding action. So whenever you do these actions like sacrifice, there should not be intention that you are the doer. So that is what Uddhava was saying is the key, that as you should not, you are offering it to Lord Krishna, like Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi, that should be the 480 verse describes that. Yeah. So pride is a binding factor. So if you think that you are the doer, then you don't achieve the results of that action. Then so the qualification for this yajna is nicely described in this verse 485, where they say that a particular qualification is necessary, that at least 12,000 rupees. Even that was very clearly specified here. I mean, and that a man must have knowledge of the whole ceremony, and it should not be like just doing it without proper knowledge of what you're doing and the meaning of each of those actions. So sometimes when you do a puja also, it is good to learn the entire puja, the method of doing it properly, so that it achieves that results. So that eligibility condition is specified in this nicely in this verse 485. Then the money that is given required for yajna should be earned by proper means. That is very nicely described in these few verses, that it should not be compulsion or somebody forcing you to contribute, or earned through wrongful actions, under the table money or something like that, but it should be properly earned money, so that it is legitimate money and it is done for a right action, and so that it benefits the society actually, so that actually it benefits the society as a whole. Yeah. And then you should also not overdo things, like your family is suffering, they don't have food to eat and they're starving, and then you are spending all the money in these yajnas and all. So that is also wrong. It is said here in 489 that you should only do within your means. That means you should live like some people, to show off, they will overspend money which is beyond their means also. So that he calls as ignorant people. Yeah. Then he comes to these verses about the family, objects of pleasure and all, and that we should not be clinging all this to all our life, clinging into all these attachments and relations and family and objects. And he describes it in he gives some examples very nicely, that here he says about should avoid contact with women and all those things, but here he gives an example of how to. yeah, he says in 496, 497 and all, that his wife, the sons and money and all, they are perishable like in a dream. And so it's just like another dream, that they don't repeat, the dream doesn't repeat itself day after day. You don't see the same people. So they are saying also that in this life they are come together just like by chance. Your relations, your family and all are come by chance, and then it's not going to be happen in your next birth, or the same people are not going to repeat there. So that is why he describes them as unreal, you know. So he gives an example of how the logs in a river, they just happen to meet together and then they are separated after some time. So these few verses are describing that, I think. And then so pride, so all these what it boils down to is that desirelessness is described a desirelessness, and then not being bound by all these relations and attractions and possessions and your house. And so with that belief, you should do all these yajnas and all those things. So worshipping me alone is a devotee, can attain all these things. So through his worship, through Bhagavan's worship, a family man need not go into other ashramas like ashrama and all. He can remain in the family because he does not give up his devotion. There are some people who do not give up, like 509 he describes, that they do all their duties as well as they are able to make time to surrender their actions to Krishna, or to God. And his mind does not waver from that worship, and he does these things at sandhya prayers and all regularly, and so that is described here. So I think that is what I have gathered so far.
Such a lovely summary and beautiful verses. I also enjoyed all those verses which you have pointed. The 529 also attracted, 525. Where such foolishness is very deep, the boat of discrimination is carried away in the wrong direction by winds of sorrow and becomes capsized. That I just love that. Very beautiful. And even in that 530, that line, unlimited happiness of freedom by the unfortunate adherence to momentary pleasures. So some of the phrases were so beautifully said. And then also in that 536, like Narayana is residing in the hearts of Brahmins, of Vedas. So those whoever are chanting Vedas, those who are really, into, we have to see them as Lord Narayana only. All Brahmins are not chanting. There are some staunch followers who just produce those sounds and vibrations, and it's Bhagwan only inside residing. And when the scripture is saying like that, it is like that. So that is Narayana in that form. This much conviction we should have such levels. Beautiful. So next week we start with chapter 18. So chapter 18 has about 400 verses, OVs. So we should probably extend little time and do 100 OVs in each session, so that in that week we can complete. We can't start early because of the daily Gita is there. On Monday, Tuesday it finishes early, but Wednesday, Thursday it doesn't finish. It's when Monday, Tuesday it finishes by 7:75. Means India time. So just come little prepared so that we do 100 OVs. Normally we do about 70 to 80 OVs. So extending about 20 OVs. Okay, over to you, Satyaji, for the closing prayers. If Venkatesh ji, Srihari ji, you have any thoughts to share, sorry.
Well summarized.
Varsha ji, I had doubt. How can people, everyone worries about their family, no? Then how can it be wrong? I am not understanding.
Because now we are so gripped by it, we are not going to understand it. When we start seeing the Lord and the limitation, we will come out of it. My father and my mother,
Mm.
they were not gripped by it because I have seen. Only at a certain stage of life we are gripped by it. And then we outgrow. Like a doll. As a child, we had that toy very much dear. We can't imagine leaving that toy anymore. Wherever we go, whether it's a wedding or whether it is a temple. But afterwards, it drops down. Like that, as we would progress in life, our family attachment would drop down like that toy that dropped down, which we are holding so dearly in the first standard. In fifth standard, we are not holding that one.
Mm.
As we complete our stages in life, that will also drop down. My father, I have seen. So I can just very blindly assure you that the lack of our spiritual progress is the result that why we feel my house, my family, my son. As we would progress, it will be immaterial. We will see that limitation. It is normal to be attached when we are ignorant, but it is completely abnormal and impossible to get attached when we get that. At the moment, you feel like that because ignorance is deeply there. You are on the path, you are reading, and as you start reading, that purification of mind will happen, and it is automatic. It's not developing hatred. It is not developing hatred. Whatever your duties are towards your house and son, you will still be performing it, but
That's what I have done. We have our
without
own duties,
attachment.
no?
That catch is without attachment.
Okay, okay.
So my father didn't abandon me or my mom. He did what he had to do, but he was non-attached. This I can surely say. I have seen that, so I'm able to say. It's not my own experience that I'm not attached to anything. That's wrong. I'm not talking of my personal experience. I'm talking of from my father's point of experience that there are people, and it is very common in Indian families that at a certain age, that maturity comes. It's very common in, so I don't know whether our generation would be also like that. It is hoping, so we are holding the scriptures. So it's not shunning away the duty, but it is performing it with an unattached bhava. Oh, like that it will not happen. Oh, my son fell down. Oh, my son met with accident. Oh, my house is like this. And limitation will be seen that it is an ashwar only. So it had to go. Whatever is deserving for me, it will remain with me. It will come to me no matter what. That kind of a saying. Is it clear? Is it solving your doubt or it is not yet solved your
Yes,
question?
yes, Varshaji. Solved. Solved, Varshaji.
Sorry, what?
Solved my throat. No, it's not
Solved.
proper.
Solved. Ah, solved. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Varshaji.
My pleasure. Nothing is such.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु Thank you. Hari Om.
Just remembered one more example. There are these old people, huh? I can't name, but they are very close to me over here. So they want attention. And then, yeah, this is feeling so lot. My life is like this, like that. And all these old people will say, and how much pain they are, and how they are suffering, and oh, life is like that. And all. I've seen this. And I've seen my father. He had multiple fractures on his spine, and he was completely in pain. And when we would, he was admitted in hospital, and when we would ask him, how are you? And he would give a big smile and say, Uttam ahe. I fantastic reels. He never said, this is paining, now why I am suffering, let me die now, I'm lying in the bed like that. He never said. And he always smiled. And he would be in unconscious state so many times, which we would not realize. And in that state, if we are asking him, his involuntary answer will also be Uttam with us. And there was like on his deathbed when he was, and there was one Amavasi coming, and we were doing a lot of chanting, Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam back to back, like that one after, not on different days. And he was unconscious, serious, and his lips were moving to what we were chanting. Means he's not unconscious, involuntarily it has happened. Saying that. So I have seen the other side also, the old people saying this, so much problem they are having, better the body should die, and they keep on cribbing, crying, this, that, whatnot, complain. And I have seen this side also. So I have seen both the things, and I can say to with a conviction that there are people like that also, and how not to be. So I've seen both. I don't care how I should be and how I should not be. Both things. And probably all of us might have such experience in our families where some relatives grip and some relatives don't grip. So it's coming from maturity. Not that they don't have problem or suffering or pain, but they don't talk about that or give that so much importance that that becomes the first thing to speak about it. They have other things to speak about it. Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you
Hari
very
Om,
much.
Dattaji.
Hari Om.
Thank you.